Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us this evening. This is John McDougall. I am the event coordinator here at Murder by the Book in Houston. And before we get started with our event this evening, I'll make just some general store announcement stuff. So as everybody's getting the notifications that we are live on Facebook and YouTube and coming to find us, we'll give everybody just a second to do that. But as I said, I am the event coordinator at Murder by the Book here in Houston. I know if you were tuning in and you're thinking, oh, wait, this book isn't necessarily a mystery. We do have some non-mystery stuff. We, at heart are all book lovers. And if there's something that we love, we will bring it in, whether it is a mystery or not. I have known Helen for years. I was saying the other night when I was chatting with Melissa Marr and Kelly Armstrong that it's always kind of a treat to get to know, or to, as a bookseller, to have read an author and then get to know them. But in Helen's case, I actually got to know her as a friend, and then she started publishing these really great essay collections. And so I got to fangirl over a friend's writing, which is just as wonderful. So I'm so excited for tonight's event, and we're so happy to have JT Ellison back with us. I have to say, between the two of them, they are responsible for some of my favorite reading or books so far this year, with Helen's book, Bring Your Baggage and Don't Pack Light, and JT's thriller, Her Dark Lies, JT's new book, Tomb of the Queen, which we'll chat about a little bit later too. Some of my favorite reading experiences of the year. Also, some of my favorite events, getting to chat with Helen when she chatted with Rick Kopp, and JT and Helen chatting with each other earlier this year. So I'm super excited for tonight's event. To stop babbling about how excited I am, just my general store announcement stuff. We are open, so I hope you guys will come see us if you haven't been in the store in a while. There's lots of great stuff coming that's just come out. We've just got signed copies of the new Daniel Silva, the new Susan McNeil, the new Linda Castillo, Liv Constantine, Riley Sager, S.A. Cosby. So lots of great stuff has just come out. We hope that you will come see us. We're encouraging masks in the store, so we hope that if you feel comfortable to come out, you will pop one on. If you do not feel comfortable coming in just yet and you want to do curbside pickup, of course, we're always available to do that. Just give us a call when you pull into the parking lot, and we will run stuff out to you. As JT and Helen are chatting this evening, if you have questions for them, either one of them about books, writing, any of that stuff, please post those in the live chat on YouTube and the comments on Facebook, and we will leave plenty of time to get to those. Also wanted to mention that we do have signed copies of Bring Your Baggage and Don't Pack Light directly from Helen's house. She signed and sent them to us. So if you have not gotten your copy yet, I'll drop a link in just a second in the comments where you can order copies. So I'm going to get us started this evening. First, I'm going to bring out JT Ellison. How are you tonight, JT?
Hello, it's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you too. I it's going to be great when we can actually have people in store again, but it's been so great to be able to do these virtual things because we get to see you guys more often. Usually it's like, we would get to see you like once a year or every couple of years. So like, it's so nice that we get to see you all more often.
I know. I think this is our fourth event this year. And that's, I mean, I love that. There has been blessings in the curses for sure.
Yeah, so we're excited to see how, once we're doing in-store stuff again, how we can still be able to do this and get to check in with people virtually more often. So for everyone tuning in, JT Ellison is the New York Times and USA Today bestselling author of more than 20 novels and the Emmy award-winning co-host of A Word on Words, Nashville's premier literary show. With millions of books in print, her work has won critical acclaim, prestigious awards, and has been published in 26 countries. She lives in Nashville with her husband and twin kittens. And now we're going to bring out Miss Helen Ellis. How are you tonight, Helen?
I'm great.
So as
New York City.
As I mentioned, Helen's new book, Bring Your Baggage and Don't Pack Light, a collection of essays, has just come out this Tuesday. And as I said, we have signed copies. I think this is our fourth or fifth event with you too, Helen, which is also great.
I think so. It's my favorite event space because you run a very tight ship, John.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So for everyone tuning in, Helen Ellis is the author of Southern Lady Code, American Housewife, and Eating the Cheshire Cat. Raised in Alabama, she lives with her husband in New York City. You can find her on Twitter at What I Do All Day and Instagram at Helen Ellis Author. So we're super excited to let them chat this evening. So I'm going to turn it over to JT to get us started. As I said, if you guys have any questions, please post those in the comments and we will get to those in just a little bit. So I'm going to let you guys chat and I will see you in just a bit.
Bye, John.
Hi, John. Hello, my darling.
Hello.
Can we raise a glass?
Yes, it's just solo cup. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. I got these especially for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will not say what's in mine.
Pandemic, because you know why I have these.
No, why do you have them?
I will tell you, because at the start of the pandemic, 16 months ago, our dishwasher broke. And
you're kidding.
It has yet to be repaired because they don't make it anymore. And so I bought the cups because I didn't want to wash my glasses, and it kind of stuck. And
they're convenient.
Yes, it makes me feel like a college girl.
Well, and I like that they have the measuring, you know exactly how much to put in.
Yes.
Right? It's a shot, it's a glass of wine, it's a mixed drink, it's a beer. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cups for dummies, which is perfect. I didn't know that though, and you can't get appliances. So
you can't. No. So we use our dishwasher as a drying rack. I mean, I've taken out parts of at the bottom. It's just a drying rack now.
Well, at least you're not putting shoes in it.
Correct. We're still eating. We're still eating off the good china.
That's good.
Putting it in.
I love it. Of course you're eating off good china because you're Helen Ellis, and that is what you do. Well, juxtaposition, right? So I'm so tickled to be a part of your tour because I want to tell the story of how we got to be friends.
Yes.
So we have a mutual friend.
It was a fight club.
There was a fight. So we have a mutual friend named Ariel Lahan who came to me. She was out on tour for, I think, Flight of Dreams.
Yes.
Yeah. And she said, I met a girl that I think that you would really like. And her name is Helen Ellis. And I went, wait a minute. Helen Ellis? The Helen Ellis? And she goes, you know her? I'm like, she wrote one of my all-time favorite books, which was what John was talking about. And it was the funniest thing in the world. And so she introduced us, and I fangirled all over you. And I pulled out my book. I'm like, look, I even have it. It's right here. I don't have it here because I'm not at home. And a beautiful friendship was born.
And part of the reason that beautiful friendship was born was because you very kindly did not mention that book had come out 15 years ago. And I hadn't written, well, that's not true. I hadn't published a book in those 15 years. I'd written 3, and they all wound up in the drawer because no one would publish them. And so it really touched me that you remembered something, that because people met me and I didn't even say I was a writer anymore. So I thank you very much for remembering. Maybe I'll write a novel again. Who knows? I don't know.
Oh, you know, I want you to. I want a sequel to that book. I want you to get in there and find what you can.
This summer I was throwing ideas at you. I have these 3 ideas for a novel, and you said, just put them all in one novel.
I mean, it's a time-honored tradition of, okay, I've got this story, none of them match, so I'm just going to put them together. And poof, there it is.
Yes.
It works.
I would like to say that you make writing novels look easy, but you don't. You make it look like the work that it is. And I so much appreciate you showing me and showing so many people how you do it. There is nobody I know who is as disciplined as you. I think you're the one that gave me the mantra, words are money.
Words equal money.
Yes.
It's a teensy bit crass, but it's very, very true. And that's, I think it's an important thing to inspire other people to do the work, because there's a lot of creativity that gets left behind when, people get discouraged. They get told, no, we're not going to publish your book. I can't even imagine a world in which you listened to that and didn't continue writing. And I'm so grateful that you did. And it's just such a lovely nanny boo-boo to the people that didn't, because now you're publishing these amazing essay collections that are huge. So to them, right?
It's all material. It's all material now.
It's all material now, right? So, and I'm interested in how you made the transition from the novel to the memoir essay.
I accidentally sat ass backwards into it. I wrote a piece for Modern Love that was published in Modern Love called Making a Marriage Magically Tidy. And it was this piece about how I became a recovering slob to save my marriage. And it got such incredible feedback and a response, and my publishing house said, you know, would you like to write a collection of essays? Do you think you could do that? Yes, of course I can. I just pretended to know what I was doing. And then I did it again with Bring Your Baggage, where I said, well, I really liked telling true stories. I mean, it's really so much easier for me. I don't have to make anything up, and I'm 50 years old, and so I have a lot of stories, and I'm not embarrassed by very much. And so I'll tell you everything that I tell my friends. And so it really is just me sort of writing down in a little bit more of a structured or heightened way of telling you a story. You probably knew stories that you read in the book that I had told you personally. So it really was sort of an accident, and it's the happiest accident ever. I never expected to tell true stories, and I love it. I love it. It's so much fun.
Well, you've found your place. I mean, these are really, really good. They are, I mean, I've been talking this up everywhere because you do something that is so incredibly hard to do, which is you make me laugh and then you make me cry, and then I'm crying and you make me laugh. And that's a talent, lady. That is just not, doing humor is incredibly difficult on the page. Right. It loses its translation, and you have to have somebody special like you with a voice, with a genuine voice. And I have to admit, knowing you and reading this collection, it made it even funnier to me because I have literally your voice in my head as you tell me stories, telling me this story to me. And I'm reading it to my husband, and literally we're on the floor.
And whenever
we're on the floor.
Talk, especially, you know, during the pandemic, our virtual porch has met, which is a group of women writers. We've met about once a quarter during the pandemic for a week, every night, just to talk about what we were doing, what we were writing. And you were really a good audience for me because I would end up telling some story, and if all of you would laugh at a certain thing, I would think, well, then that'll go in the book. You know, if you don't laugh at something, I think, well, that's not a story to tell. So I seem to always be testing, you know, the story before I put it in a book. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we're your focus group.
You're my focus group. That's exactly right.
So it's, you know, it's interesting that you bring up the porch because I have that in here to talk about because it's something I think women, especially as you get older, start to appreciate each other more. And that's really what this collection is your explanation of how friendships as adults work and how they change over time. Can you tell us a little bit about the collection?
So the collection is called Bring Your Baggage and Don't Pack Light because it's about reunions of grown-ass ladies, longtime friends getting together. And whether they bring, you know, 3 hat racks and 7 rash guard shirts, or they bring the baggage of a divorce, or the baggage of a cancer scare, or the baggage of a lost job. It's something that dear friends carry and take on. So it's a celebration of just so many of my friends. Every single story was started with me thinking, I have to tell you about my friend who, you know, got out of this marriage. I have to tell you about my friend who had a baby at 50 years old. I have to tell you about my friend who got back alley Botox, you know, and me sort of being along for a lot of those rides. So it's just me celebrating the women in my life.
And you do a beautiful job of it. There was a blurb in the reviews that really I adored. She has come to own the power of her personality and her work.
I like that too.
I liked that a lot because I think, especially those of us who know you, we were talking about you behind your back.
Oh. Good.
And the conversation was, is it because we know you that this seems so incredibly intimate and personal and vulnerable? Or is it because you have really hit your stride with your voice, and your voice has come through the page so dramatically that everybody is going to feel like they know you. And we decided the latter.
I hope so. I do feel like when I write it, I'm coming out of a cold, so I apologize.
Take your time. I will tap dance. Here, I'll get my fan out. Take a drink.
What was it? Tell me what the question was again. I just had
do you feel like I feel like you've leveled up with this in your ability to get your voice onto the page?
I'm going to take that compliment.
Please take that compliment because it's a big one.
And I do think so. I think that these are my stories. So the main character is me, and the main character is my friends. And so, like I say, so many of the stories are things I would have told you privately, sort of bragging about a friend. And there's a confidence when you're not trying to do anybody any harm. You're trying to lift everyone up. You're trying, anybody in the book comes off really, really well because I want to shine a light on their light. So I think, I'm just, it's a confidence coming from that. I don't know.
Absolutely. It's power. It's power. It's
talker.
It's very powerful. Vulnerability and intimacy is an incredibly powerful thing, and it's a powerful aphrodisiac. And I think these are going to land. I had to get a sexy thing in there. It's going to land.
It's the second book of essays, and I'm writing a third. And I think after Southern Lady Code was published, and I sort of met every fear that came along with being the subject, because every time I wrote before, like with American Housewife or Eating the Cheshire Cat, if there was criticism, it was about the writing or the characters. And now if there's criticism of the characters, it's me. And so after sort of going through that with Southern Lady Code, because there was a criticism or two, I'm not for everyone, and coming out of it relatively unscathed, I think, well, let me try it again. Let me try something a little more intimate. In Southern Lady Code, I talked about our decision not to have children, which was the most intimate thing I could think to write about at the time. And in this book, I think, well, let me tell you about menopause, my sex life, because I'm a little bit braver. With every story, I get a little bit braver. It's like being with a friend, or when you become friends. You share with each other, and you share something with me that shows your vulnerability. It makes me want to share something with you as sort of a gift. They're just gifts.
I love that. It's a book about friendship, without a doubt, mostly between women, but also our friendship with ourselves.
Yes.
Not to get all touchy-feely, but seriously, I mean, this is about what we go through, the changes that we go through. How can we make peace with these changes? How do we do it?
I wish I knew. I think by sharing. I think by saying I'm going through it too. There's, like I said, there's this great. One of the hardest things and the most fun thing for me to write was, "Are you there, menopause? It's me, Helen." And part of me wanting to write it was that I was actually having conversations with women my age, women a little bit older than me, because nobody talks about it. When we were in middle school, we had, "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret." We had this sort of Judy Blume, a friend. If our mothers weren't telling us about this, Judy was telling us about it, where to get the teenage softies, how, we must increase our bust. What goes on in the closet for 2 minutes at a boy-girl party, it was sort of prepping us. And so I wanted to, be that for women my age and women a little bit younger. Like Nora Ephron was for me, with I Feel Bad About My Neck. When I was 35, I was reading her work in her 50s saying, the neck is going to go at 43, or the apartment, So I think the best thing we can do to sort of muddle through is share and talk about things freely. Our bodies are not ourselves, but they're not.
They've taken on a life of their own.
And I tell you, nothing is more frightening than a woman whipping out a fan.
It's like, oh, hi. I mean, right before we started, we both just totally melted.
It can be very intimidating. So you must, wield that power. we have to turn uncomfortable moments into moments of power.
Well, and that's what you do. I mean, you take an uncomfortable moment, you turn it into a moment of power, and you make it funny. So that makes it relatable and understandable, and then people don't feel so bad about it, right?
You have to laugh.
You have to laugh.
You have to laugh. You have to laugh. Even in the worst moments, you have to laugh. That's the best medicine. It really is. It really, really is. Even I think about at the start of the pandemic, we were all locked down. I was watching stand-up comedy shows just to laugh, just to, release. I remember watching Sam Jay's, that's her name, her 3 o'clock in the morning was the name of the show. And I had to pause it because I was laughing so hard. And I'm so grateful for that. So we need to laugh.
Yeah, I would like that. I would like the link to that. Text me after, all right? Will you text me that? So as funny as everything is on this, there are also just incredibly poignant moments. Like I said, I laughed till I cried, and then I cried till I laughed. And I'm curious how you bring that balance. How do you know what the balance is?
It's a tightrope. It's a tightrope. I am someone, again, you know me, so I'm someone who's cracking wise the other sentence just to ease the tension. And what's that? Is there a cat? There's a cat.
Sorry. Cat. Oh my God.
But I think it's
getting dark in here, so I think the cat's like, oh my God.
How do I balance the poignant and the funny? It's just like a seesaw. That's just the way that my mind works. And when I see it on the page, I do think this is hard. Let me give you some relief. This is hard. Let me give you some relief, because it's that spoonful of sugar that gets the medicine down. To quote Mary Poppins. But it really is. It's just this balancing act, and it's just natural. It's just natural to me. I kind of think everybody talks like that, but maybe not. But that's the way it is for me and my family.
Well, it works. It works really, really well.
I try.
I've got questions. That's what I'm looking down at. I wrote all these questions because there's all this stuff that I wanted to ask you, because some of it I do get to ask you in person and some of it I don't. And I'm really curious about. What's your advice for writers who are starting out who want to write memoir?
Wow. My advice is set your clock or your timer for 10 minutes. And just write as if you were writing in a diary. Whatever comes to mind, you don't stop. I mean, I still use that trick myself. Keep a diary. And I would suggest you keep it on the computer so you can then cut and paste it. I do that as well. But the best bit of advice, I think, is write something that you don't want to write. Write something that embarrasses you. Like when I wrote the first nonfiction piece I ever wrote, which was in Southern Lady Code, Making a Marriage Magically Tidy, I thought, what's the most embarrassing thing I could tell you? And it was that when I was 23 years old, I was such a slob. I walked out of my house on the Manhattan streets with a maxi pad stuck to the back of my jacket. And yes, it was used. And no, nobody said a thing about it for 40 blocks on a bus in the middle of winter. So it's like, what is the most embarrassing thing? And so many stories start that way. so I think just the most embarrassing thing you can think about, because somebody else can relate to that in some way, or write down something funny that you hear. So I think about that first essay in Bring Your Baggage, Grown Ass Ladies Gone Mild, and we go to the water park. And we went to this water park in 2015, and my friend Paige and I are waiting to ride a ride called the Treetop Drop, which is just like a 70-foot straight, extra large straw that you hang on at the top, and then you let go and you just zoom right down this straw, big black tube, until you come out and you wake up underneath like the bronzed legs of a teenage Adonis who says, ma'am, and helps pick you up. And I said to the woman in front of me, should we ride the Treetop Drop? And she said, if you want to taste the crotch of your own bathing suit. Gold like that, you should write it down. So the number of times I just write down things people say, like I have something that I haven't used yet that I've got to use, where a friend's husband like did something very trying, a good deed, and he comes home and he goes, she said, well, how was it? He says, it's awful, and I am for sure going to hell on the express train for it. And I said, do you mean going to heaven? Oh, no, he's going to hell, but he doesn't have to take the local now. Like, oh. So just, write down embarrassing stories for yourself and write down good things that people tell you. Cheese.
So, all right. All good humor is based in truth.
Yeah.
Tell us a truth.
Tell us a truth?
Uh-huh.
God, you gotta ask me. You gotta be.
I know. I've got all these deep questions because I know it's just fun.
Well, here's my truth. I'm not wearing pants. I'm wearing a pair of tiny shorts. It's very professional and cute on the top, and I am sitting here in 3-inch shorts with a solo cup between my thighs and no shoes. That's the truth.
That's a good truth. I'm wearing pajama bottoms and one sneaker and one boot. And my lights are out and nobody will come turn my lights on. So it's there we go. Yay! Hallelujah. I'm texting this. Could you come turn on the lights, please?
There she
hello.
Is. Gorgeous.
Thank you.
There she is. Thank you, dear.
Oh, it's much better. I felt like I was sitting in the dark. I mean, we're making jokes about it getting dark out, but when it gets dark out, there's no light in here.
It does. It does.
Yes.
We have scaffolding outside. We're on the 2nd floor in New York, and there's scaffolding. And my husband said, "Ooh,
I just hid.
Wearing pants."
This is how we roll. This is how we roll.
So I'm looking at the scaffolding, and every day there's like 12 men outside my windows, 20 tons of bricks. And today my husband says, is that a dead animal outside our window? And there's a dead pigeon outside of our window, and nobody's going to come back to get him until Monday when work starts. And so that's
very possible somebody else might come and get him. The circle of life.
I don't think so. So I don't know. But
that reminds me of the bald eagle story.
And the bald eagle story? Oh, my bald eagle. Yes.
Your bald eagle story.
Maybe a bigger animal will come and get this dead pigeon.
Right?
That would be exciting. Yes.
You should put a camera up there.
I tell you, my group, we see a lot of signs. At one point in the book, we all go see Teresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, at a casino, and it was amazing. And there was all this talk of signs, and so many bird signs. And like a red cardinal means a loved one is with you, or it's good luck. My friend Vicky had a bald eagle outside her Atlanta, Georgia window when she was going through cancer treatments. I mean, a bald eagle in Georgia, you don't see that very often.
Yeah.
But was a really great moment earlier in the week where my friend Paige, in the story, I talk about us going to the water park, and we're walking around in the broad daylight in our one pieces, and I see on her shoulder a tattoo of 3 little M birds. You know, how we used to draw birds, little M's. And I said, you know, what is that? Because I hadn't seen her in 10 years. And she says she got the tattoo when she divorced her husband because she felt like her 2 children were finally free. So it was like a mother bird and 2 little baby birds. At the beginning of the week, she's on a beach trip with her wonderful second husband. And she sent me a photo of 3 little M birds flying over the beach. So I took it as a great blessing and good omen. So we're always looking for good signs.
That's fantastic. I love that. Okay, let's talk about other things.
Okay. Are you going to dare me to do something?
Well, I mean, I'll dare you. Oh my God. We can play truth or dare if you want. I'm all down with that. But let's ease into that. The classic trashy book club.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your book club.
So my book club has been in cahoots since 2012. And it's a classic trashy book club. So that means we read a book that is at least 20 years old and was either banned, burned, or made into a 1980s TV miniseries. So at the moment, our pick is Judith Krantz's I'll Take Manhattan. But we read, you know, Jacqueline Suzanne, Valley of the Dolls. We read Sidney Sheldon, The Other Side of Midnight. We read Dominic Dunn. We read Harold Robbins, Judy Blume's Wifey. You know, the lot, we've read 78, I think we're on our 78th book. So it's a great chance to sort of rediscover the bestsellers of back in the day. We read Lady Chatterley's Lover.
Well, after the build-up, it's not.
I can tell you, it wasn't as good as Scruples.
Scruples. Oh my gosh.
Delicious.
Yes.
Krantz.
Is there anywhere that we can get that list? Because I would love to do that. Because
I'll get it to you.
You know a girl?
I have a spreadsheet. Of course, I have a spreadsheet.
Of course, you have a spreadsheet. Yes, please send that because I'm always curious in publishing what is hitting and what is popular, and things have changed so much from those days. But I think that there's still so many elements of those stories in our current suspense novels. I mean, we really got the domestic stuff going on.
You used to really be able to, you can sort of get away with anything. I mean, that wasn't really getting away with anything in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, you know, but these women wrote, Jackie Collins, there's a great documentary out on her right now called Lady Boss. And, you know, I just read Chances for the first time this pandemic. And it was one of the raciest things I've ever read, and I could not put it down. But it's also incredibly offensive, and I'm not sure you could get away with publishing it today. But that it's kind of refreshing to go back where there was no holds bar, and when you had women writing really aggressive sexually, business-wise, you know. Books, you know, I love to go back. And taking famous author photos that take up the whole back of the book.
Right?
Yeah,
well, and you know, we were talking about that marketing, you know, if you like X, you know, if you like Scruples, you will like Y, you know. That's a huge thing that we're kind of missing now.
It used to be the back to the book. Like I just got a Quentin Tarantino's novelization of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which he put out as a mass market book that looks like something out of the 70s. And in the back are ads for Serpico, Eric Segal,
nice.
Love Story, you know, like because there used to be ads for other books in the backs of paperbacks, and they used to be like fill it out, like mail it in and buy these Dell books.
A lot of my early Mira books still have that.
Yeah.
They've got the they've got the order these books, and they've got the, you know, and I haven't been in publishing that long, so it's recent. It's still recently being done.
To hear.
Well, it's pre social media. It's how we recommended other books to people when, you know, the readers didn't have access to the authors the way they do. I mean, the unprecedented access. What do you think about the unprecedented access?
Well, I think it's interesting. You know, I'm I do Instagram and Twitter. I don't really do Twitter for anything other than promotion. But I really sort of got my writing life back because of Twitter, because I had this anonymous account and was writing about being a housewife, and that turned into American Housewife. But now I sort of, as you say, I sort of figured out how to write without it. But I'm on Instagram, and I like it. For the most part, it's a really happy place. And you can control what you put out there as the writer. So I like that. But I do find myself as a reader and a writer sometimes falling into like the rabbit hole, and it can be kind of discouraging where you say, oh, well, this writer is doing this writer is getting that, and that's no good. So I'll often just completely put the freedom up so I can't compare. So that's not
Watch my Instagram this week. I have it's 2 cats. And one cat has a large dead mouse, and the other cat has a small dead mouse. And the cat is saying to the other one, "Comparison is the thief of joy, Mittens."
That's right. That's right.
It's just so perfect.
Sometimes I have to mute people because I just, I would never dare to unfollow a friend. But I'm like, you had so much success. I don't want to see it. I'll just mute it for a little bit.
We love your success, but yeah, sometimes it's hard to, get that fire hose of, oh my gosh, this book is everywhere. It's perfect. Everybody loves it. Okay, that's great. I love it too.
Yeah. And you think, should I be doing something? Should I be doing more? Where your job, I feel like my job is to write the book. And, and you fall into that trap of thinking, what should I be doing? Should I be, doing something else? What should I be doing? So it can work for you and against you.
Yeah.
But I don't do Facebook, I'm TikTok. No, I don't do the TikTok. So I can't.
Well, you've got a life outside of your writing.
Yeah.
And
I feel like, I go back to Twitter, and I think about how much I used to write on Twitter because it was a great editor. If something was retweeted, you knew that joke worked. But it really became a very dark place, I think, in the last few years, and very critical, and that's no fun. But what was I going to say about that? Who knows? It's gone. Thank you.
Who knows? It's gone. Well, I was going to say you have a whole nother life. You have a whole nother persona.
Right. That's what I was going to say. Now I get paid to write, so I want if I'm going to write, I'm going to write under contract.
Exactly. Why give the milk? It's the milk and the cow, right?
You got to buy the whole cow.
You got to buy the cow. The cow will produce for you.
Mm-hmm. I will produce. Yes, exactly. I'm like a chicken. I will lay those eggs for you, but you gotta lay for me.
Not on this, but remind me about chickens.
All right.
Okay. So you're also a poker player.
I know. I miss it so much. I miss live play so much.
And you're going to be able to go back anytime soon?
I think I'll be going to Vegas in October. The World Series of Poker it's been postponed until then, and I will probably go and play for a few weeks out there. I miss Vegas. I love Vegas. My Vegas is not necessarily everybody else's Vegas, but I miss Vegas, getting up at like 5:30 in the morning because of jet lag, sitting out, because I usually go in the summertime, sitting out in the only time of day I can sit outside, which is like 7 to 8 a.m. where it's only 99 degrees under a shade. And then hiding in a card room for 13 hours a day and eating like a really nice supper and going to a spa and being in bed by 10 o'clock. That's my Vegas. And I miss it terribly. And
that's a good version of it.
I miss, playing with strangers. I miss, I really miss people wondering, who is that lady?
All right, so I have a lightning round.
Oh, goody.
Actually, before we do that, just tell us very quickly what your writing process is like.
It changes. It changes. It's developed because I had never written nonfiction, so writing that has changed. So, for example, with the first book, the hardest piece I wrote was called "Serious Women," and it was about me attending the trial where my friend was prosecuting a murder. And I really didn't know I was going to write about it going in. And then after seeing her opening remarks, that's not the right word, but after seeing her open, I thought, how am I not going to write about this? And so I was taking all these notes, and I was there for 2 weeks, and then I waited to write about it. And it took me 6 months to write it because it was just huge, huge subject. And how am I going to get it into this, 12-page thing? And I can't read my notes, and it was a mess. So with this book, when I was called as a backup plan when my friend was in labor, I went in there with a notepad because I'm a good bedside note taker, so I'm going to take notes anyway. This is the Pitocin was given at this time, and the water broke at this time, and I immediately, after the baby was born, I wrote the piece in 2 days, like right after it happened. So it was very fresh in my mind. And now, as I'm writing this new book, if I have any sort of idea, I just start writing notes on the idea. Just notes, and then I will go back to it and try to shape something out of it. But yes, I'm trying to sort of get better at this. I go along because I'm completely self-taught.
You're doing it. You're getting faster too. I mean, you're writing a lot faster. You're generating more content. You're not at a dearth for ideas. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
What's your perfect day like?
My perfect day is I wake up.
That's a good start.
I wake up, and I usually wake up at 7:30 or 8, and my husband has woken up beforehand, and I wake up to the crack of the can opener for the cat food because he's feeding the cats. And then I hear the front door open and close because he's going to get coffee. And I stay in the bed, and the cats get in the bed with me. And then I hear him come back, and he has brought my iced latte with extra ice and a pastry. And then I get up, and I have my breakfast. And then I go to the New York Society Library, which is where I write. And it's an old townhouse, and I go up into the stacks, and it's usually stack 6, which is fiction K through Z, and there's one little desk in a corner, or I go to biography, stack 7, and there's one little desk in a corner, and I set my timer, and I write for 2 hours, and if it's going well, I'll stay longer. Sometimes if it's going really well, I'll have lunch, and then I'll come back and work longer, but usually it's just 2 hours. And then my husband works at home. So I come home, I see him. Hello, how are you doing? I make a dinner. I watch a little Dynasty. I'm binge watching Dynasty. I'm on season 6.
You've been live storying that. It's hysterical.
Has been kidnapped, and there's a body double. It's very exciting. So it's just a very mellow, quiet day. I mean, even the things I write about could happen to all of us. I celebrate the small things. We're not really going anywhere, doing anything. We're just happy in the company we keep.
I like it. All right, we're gonna do a lightning round, and then maybe John will come back and we can chat some more. Okay, so pens or paper?
Oh, say it again.
Pens or paper?
Pens or paper? Don't I use both?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, both.
That's probably supposed to be pens or pencils.
Yeah.
And my autocorrect put paper, or I can't type.
It's pencils, and I just bought the pencils that are your favorite pencils that have
the Palominos?
Yes. I bought the kit that has all 4 of the all 4 inside, the different leads. And I love that the eraser is sort of looks like it's squished.
Right.
Because it's perfect for a crossword puzzle. Like it's right in that square. And I write on these waterproof memo pads, tiny little flip over the top like a stenographer. and I write in the little, what do you call it? Grids. I use grids so I can read my own writing. If I have to fill each square, or I can never read my writing. It looks like something out of A Beautiful Mind. It looks crazy. But so I just bought those pencils, and I love Tennessee Reds out of, I think, Nashville. And I like a Black Warrior pencil.
Very nice. Yeah, I said Palomino, but I meant Blackwing, and I believe maybe they still have some at Murder by the Book, because I just bought 2 boxes of Indie Bookstore Day. They partnered with the bookstores, and so those are really nice. They've got a really nice laydown.
And I will collect pencils. Like when I was on the road for in real life for Southern Lady Code, I will take a hotel pencil. Or I will take a museum pencil, or, so I have a huge bouquet of pencils on my desk because we make mistakes. And that's the beauty of writing with the pencil. Just erase.
Just erase that up. All right, champagne flute or solo cup?
Right, a solo cup.
Christmas tree, traditional green or sassy white?
So it was sassy white. But now it's stripper thong gold. We have a gold Christmas tree that it really is. It looks like a G-string.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
But I'm telling you, again, after the pandemic, when we were home so much, I swore last Christmas, that we were going to become a 2-tree apartment. So we have our gold tree, and I'm going to get a pink tree for the second room. That's what I promised myself. I want a gold tree and a pink tree.
That's perfect. What's your favorite decorating tip then?
My favorite decorating tip is if it fits on the tree, it's not hoarding. So you just pack that tree. Pack it. I pack a tree.
You pack a tree. What's your favorite poker tip?
My favorite poker tip is the 3 Ps. Patience, position, don't make it personal. So patience, wait for a good hand. Position is about where you are in the betting circle. So if you're last to act, that's a better space to be in, to bet. And don't make it personal, which is what I have to tell myself constantly, because there's always, a terror at the table that annoys the hell out of you, and you think, oh, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna teach you a lesson. And as soon as you start thinking that, you have to say, no. Don't play out of spite. So patience, position, don't make it personal.
What's your favorite writing tip?
My favorite writing tip is work the crossword puzzle every morning. I work the New York Times crossword puzzle every morning before I write, just to sort of get my mind going and keep my vocabulary up. And I do it in pencil because you're less afraid to make a mistake. And then once I know it's right, I'll write over it in ballpoint pen. But it sort of stops you from hesitating. And it just gets you actually writing. It gets your mind working. So I do write. I work a crossword puzzle every morning before I write.
What's the perfect number of people at a dinner party?
6. 6.
Scarves or turtlenecks?
Oh, turtlenecks.
I like turtlenecks too.
Turtlenecks, yeah.
What's your favorite catchphrase?
My favorite catchphrase, enjoyable.
It is. It totally is.
It is. That's what I say to everything. Enjoyable.
If you had to choose one book to reread for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Honestly, because I do reread it, I feel bad about my neck. By Nora Ephron.
How lovely, because this is being compared to that collection everywhere, and that's what a lovely compliment.
It's a joy. Yes, don't crowd the mushrooms. That's what.
Don't crowd. If someone handed you a free first-class ticket with an open destination and you could go anywhere, where would it be?
Oh my gosh!
And this is tomorrow. This is happening tomorrow.
Vegas.
There you go.
Or Dollywood. I've never been to Dollywood. I've
never been to Dollywood either.
I want to go. But I mean, honestly, Vegas.
Perfect. And you mentioned you were working on a new collection.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have anything that you can share? It's the worst part about being an author out on tour is, oh my gosh, we love your book. Then you've spent all of this time and effort and everything. So what's next?
Well, this is the first time in my entire life that I've been on book tour and I have had something under contract. So I'm thrilled to be asked because I have my spreadsheet. So I'm 29% done with a new book. It's essays and it's all about happy marriage.
And I know little bits of it, and it's awesome.
You do. Yes,
it's so amazing. Hi, John.
Hello. So I have also never been to Dollywood, and I think we need to put together a group trip.
So,
yeah. That sounds like fun. Yeah. I'm in.
So JT, what's one book that if you could only read one, what's your book that you would keep rereading?
I mean, I've read Outlander 9 times.
The whole thing, or the whole the first?
So the whole thing 8 times.
No.
Yeah. Every time there's a new book, I read the whole series. This time I've been listening, and I've been listening for like 3 years, and I'm only on like the 4th book because they're like 80 hours long, and it's not really working out so much. I'm probably gonna have to switch to the books. Yeah, I mean, I like that book a lot for some reason. My husband laughs at me. He's like, why would you read a book over and over? I'm like, why would you listen to a song over and over?
Yeah.
You know what you're gonna get, right?
I go back to David Sedaris constantly. I reread him constantly, and I listen to him constantly. Yeah.
My mother-in-law rereads the Outlander books too. Like when there's a new one coming out, she rereads the whole series. So.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I had to pick one, I think it would probably be like Valley of the Dolls.
That's the man after my own heart.
There you go.
Classic trashy.
Yep. So I took a couple notes while you guys were chatting because I also wanted to mention, JT, you mentioned, reading passages of the book to your husband. I do the same thing. When I have a new Helen Ellis collection, Matt knows he's going to get he's like, what are you laughing at over there? So of course I have to tell him what I'm laughing at over there. And then he'll be like, and he'll make a comment like, oh, that's so Helen, because like you said, like it's, and I mentioned this after I finished the collection, I texted to Helen, that like you do this thing where you repeat phrases or you insert these lists like in the middle of the prose, and it just makes it so conversational. It just makes it feel like you were just sitting there telling the story. And JT, I do the same thing. Like I hear them in Helen's voice as I'm reading them, and so yeah, I'll read, and Matt will be like, yeah, but that's so Helen, as we're like giggling on the couch. And like one of my favorite images, somebody mentioned, a bookseller mentioned it on Twitter from the essay collection is, Helen, you talking about like, what am I going to do with this umbilical cord? Put it in my purse and sneak it out. Like that's just, I can just see you doing that in my head. Like I can just see the whole thing playing out.
It is. I was reading Randy, the sometimes I think of menopause as that poltergeist psychic lady with the lilac dress and purple sunglasses.
Crossover children.
Crossover children.
All welcome. All are welcome.
We were downstairs a minute ago just laughing our butt off. I mean, you do that, and that's really cool that even though this is a book about women and female friendships, that everybody is going to laugh. This is a universal kind of story. All of them are very universal.
Mm-hmm. So we had a couple crowd questions. One of them, Helen, is, do any of the friends from Southern Lady Code appear in the new collection?
Yes, they do. I had a friend, and in the acknowledgement page, I wrote that I was out to dinner with my friend Meredith, who's in the first book, and it does not appear in the second book by name. And she said, since you're writing another book of true stories, does that mean your friends are going to be recurring characters? And they are, because some of the women who appear in Grown-Ass Ladies Gone Mild were at my 13th birthday party that I write about in Southern Lady Code, where my father baked us up death.
That story is just brilliant.
So many people appear in both books. Yes, my friend Patty is in both books. My friend Danny is in both books. You'll start to recognize some repeat. And of course, my husband is in both books.
So another question.
A whole book about him.
So, Helen, would you ever consider getting into stand-up comedy? Because this person said they thought that you would be a natural.
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely not. No, 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 no. I like to make my jokes in the privacy of my library.
And any chance that the podcast was going to come back?
No. No. It was fun. I really enjoyed doing it because it made me write so quickly, and that was really good. It was just a great exercise, and I carried that over into writing the new work. And it definitely made me. I think writing the podcast made me more conversational because it's such a conversational medium. But no.
So Susan wants to know, this is for both of you. Speaking of dinner parties, what authors would you invite to your dinner party? Let's start with Helen.
All right. Well, I'm going to go straight classic trashy because that's really easy for me. So we're going to go Judith Krantz. I'm dead or alive. Okay. So we're going Judith Krantz, Jackie Collins, Jacqueline Suzanne, Sidney Sheldon, Dominic Dunn, and my new favorite, Meredith Rich. She is not in as much circulation as the others, but we've read 2 books of hers for Classic Trashy, Bare Essence and Little Sims. And the woman knows how to write about a 3-way.
Well, that's something we all need to know.
And how about you,
so Du Maurier, Highsmith, Hemingway.
Ooh.
Probably Fitzgerald too. Because at least everybody would get drunk and have a good time. But then I would marry it with The Porch because I would really like to see our group meet some of the luminaries of the field. And I think that would be a really interesting night.
So JT, you've been so kind to chat with us this evening. Can you tell everybody a little bit about what your most recent release is and what you've got coming up next?
Sure. So Her Dark Lies is my most recent standalone novel. It is the story of Claire Hunter, who is a large format oil painter who is madly in love with the man of her dreams and getting ready to go to his private island to get married. There's only one problem. He was married before, his wife is dead, and nobody's allowed to talk about it. And the other is I just started an urban fantasy series under a pen name, Joss Walker, co-writing with Alicia Klapeek. There it is. The first book is Tomb of the Queen, and it's the Jane Thorne CIA librarian series. It's uplifting urban fantasy, which is not really a very typical subgenre for that. It's just fun and light, and Jane is a smartass, and she's really, really smart, and she gets herself in all kinds of trouble, and it's a blast.
It's so much fun, guys. JT, before she had made the official announcement that she was co-writing this, had emailed me at the store and said, "Hey, I've got this book coming out." And I was just like, oh my God, these are all of the things that I love. I'm a huge urban fantasy reader. Like, I loved it so much. As I said before we got started, between that and Her Dark Lives and Bring Your Baggage and Don't Pack Light, they've literally been 3 of my favorite reading experiences this year. So if you guys have not, if you've been in the store recently, I have thrust one of them on you, I promise. If you are coming in soon, you will get one of them put in your hands. They're just so wonderful. So before we head out, then last question, and you're not allowed to say each other's books, that's my disclaimer. What is something that you've read lately that you've loved? Let's start with Helen.
Okay, what have I loved? Well, I'm a big audio person, so I'm listening to Grady Hendrix's the Final Girls support group. I loved the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. So I am a third of the way into this, and I'm along for the ride. And the person who reads the Final Girls, because Final Girls are based on like the last surviving woman in a horror movie, and the woman who reads it is the final girl from Friday the 13th. The woman who played that, in 1983, she reads it and she does an amazing job.
Cool.
So it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really, because of everything, just kind of in light uplifting mode. So I just finished Emily Henry, People You Meet on Vacation.
Yay! I love
And that was
the last one. Beach Read. Is it Beach Read? That was the last
Beach
one?
Read. Beach Read was one of my top 10 books of the year. And so this one is really, really cute, and really, it took me a little bit to warm up to the characters, but once I did, I just was madly in love. It's just really great. I'm reading Casey McQuiston right now. I'm reading Red Hot and Royal Blue finally. It only took me this long to find, and oh my gosh. I mean, I love an enemies to lovers story. That's just right up my alley.
Yeah. Awesome. So to recap for everybody who might have joined us late, we have been chatting with JT Ellison and Helen Ellis. If you missed any part of our chat, you can go back and rewatch it. Facebook and YouTube will archive it. If you want to hear Helen interview JT about her dark lies, that is up on the store's Facebook page and YouTube channel, so you can check that out. Also wanted to mention one more time that we do have signed copies of Bring Your Baggage and Don't Pack Light. So you can visit us at murderbooks.com to order a copy of that. I could seriously sit here and chat with you both all night long. As I mentioned before, like, I'm going on vacation in the morning, so I still have to go do all of the packing. I'm gonna, so everybody who's watching, McKenna, you are gonna be in good hands with McKenna for the next week, and I will see everybody next Thursday with S.C. Perkins, Esme Addison, and Sherry Harris, which I'm super excited about. And also wanted to mention that on Tuesday at 1 o'clock, McKenna is gonna be chatting with Louise Candlish and Lisa Jewell about their new releases at 1 o'clock. So that's going to be fun. So definitely check that out. Helen and JT, thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening.
Thank you, John. Thank you, JT.
Thank you. I hope the book sells 1 million, and John, be real safe on vacation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You guys take care. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.